Yeah. Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome you all to today's master class. It's just we're gonna stay here for, let's say, the next 1 hour 30 minutes to have a conversation around artificial intelligence. You know, why we decided to bring up this is because we discovered that we are currently going into the world of AI. There are a lot of people lack the skills and the prerequisite and the wherewithal to handle some of these each day. On a daily basis. I see new AI tools coming online. So, and you, we can't run away from it. That is what is already in vogue. Then we need to learn how to navigate through it. So that is why we decided to schedule this class. And we discovered that a lot of you lack the skills, and we said, let's use this opportunity to see how we can have conversations around this today. And as a matter of fact, I'm happy to have a very a quintessential fellow, a very intelligent guy who I know very well. Is very much rooted in the AI world. So without waiting of any time, I'm gonna bring him on board to start his class. Please, like I said, as you join, mute yourself, please, so that you don't distract the class. So his name is Samuel Uche, and he's a PhD student at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Massachusetts, here in the United States. His research, his research work centers on clinical AI research and is an intersection of deep learning, machine learning, and clinical data healthcare. Samuel holds a bachelor's degree in computer science from University of Nigeria and a master's degree in view from Worcester Polytechnic Institute. His research work involves the application of deep learning models to smartphones, sensor human gaits, data for alcohol intoxication detection. He is a passionate enthusiast and also a founder of two non-profit organizations called Brains Over Sexuality International and Next Generation Technology Support Foundation. At his spare time, he would like to volunteer, just like what he's doing now, because this master class is part of his volunteering activities. And he also liked to watch documentaries and play football. Ladies and gentlemen, join me and welcome a gentleman. I call him a gentleman to the core, and a very brilliant guy, Samuel Uche. Samuel Uche, you have the floor right now.
All right, so thank you so much. Let me start my video. Thank you so much, Stanley, for having me today. And it's indeed a pleasure and honor to be able to hold this masterclass with every single person on the call today, so that we could all learn. Because the goal is that we increase in knowledge, be able
Yeah,
to, galvanize our journey or our educational pursuits or whatever life pursuits we're doing with the needed knowledge to be able to go through it. And since we are in the world of technology right now, it's very important that we get ourselves abreast with the current technological trends, especially as Africans. But I'll just say more of that a little bit. All right. So I want to welcome every single person to this broadcast today. It's going to be a very interactive class. I'll try to make sure it's so. You can always feel free to stop at any time to ask questions. And I hope that we'll just not learn, but we can take home some actionable points and become better in our writing skills. All right. So let me just quickly share my screen so that Let me see if I can share my screen. Well, thank you so much, Pascal. Let me see. I want to know which of the screen. Just give me a second. I'm trying to. Okay, this is presentation 16. Okay. Ooh.
I
All right.
think,
Can you see my
yeah,
screen?
yeah, it's up now.
What is it showing?
It's showing.
Okay. I'll show you the key.
I think you should share. Do you plan to share like a PowerPoint screen or
Oh yeah, that's a PowerPoint screen. I hope it's not showing something else. What are you
is
seeing?
yeah, what I can see is I can see
My background?
Anaconda Navigator.
Okay, so it's not that one, sorry. Okay, I'm here now.
Yeah, I think we are here now.
All right, sure. I think this should be perfect, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let's get started. All right. So like Stanley mentioned, my name is Samuel Luce, and today we'll be talking about mastering AI for effective writing. And the goal is for us to be able to harness technology for positive impact. Okay. So we're gonna spend about an hour discussing this and probably dedicate another 30 minutes to for questions and action and answer session. All right, so Stanley has done a little bit of an introduction, but I think it's also very good for the sake of probably posterity that I also just simply put this out here. So I'm just a PhD student. I think I'm currently in my third year, and I'm pursuing a PhD in computer science at Worcester Polytechnic Institute here in Massachusetts. And my research area is the application of deep learning models, which is an intersection, is a portion of AI in itself. So it's the application of deep learning models to detecting if somebody is drunk or not by using the data gotten from movement. So I basically make use of smartphone sensor data, apply deep learning models on them to know if somebody's drunk or not. And the reason why this research is very important is there's a lot of accidents in the US that is as a result of DUI that's driving under the influence. Once your BAC levels, according to the law, once your BAC levels is above 0.08 and you're driving under that given circumstance, it's considered a crime in the US. And law enforcement officers majorly use what we call a breathalyzer to be able to get people's BAC level. Or they can also use something that can measure the amount of alcohol in their sweat. All right. So, but we ourselves, we're trying to find an invasive way of knowing if somebody's drunk or not without necessarily applying a breathalyzer on them or trying to, know the amount of alcohol in their sweat or thereabout. So I'm a founder of two organizations, and that's why I even accepted this invite from Stanley to come here because I am very passionate about Africa, and I've always had an NGO as far back as 2016, but I recently started a second NGO that is tech driven because my goal is to ensure that Africa have a competitive advantage in the global space because we're highly backward when it comes to technology. And there are a lot of reasons to that, but that's not why we're here today. So, any forum, any opportunity I find that can help me contribute towards making Africa much better through technology, I always like to jump in on such opportunities to make Africa much more better. All right. So, what's our agenda for today? Our agenda for today is like, in as much as we want to learn about how to harness AI to be able to become better writers. So these are some things we're going to look at. We're going to look at what AI writing means. We're going to look at key tools for writers, right? What are these AI tools that are invoked today that can help writers write properly, improve precision, improve accuracy, reduce the turnaround time. Sometimes when people want to write, they have to leave town, go to a more secluded place to be able to churn out thousands of words. be able to write books. I heard that the lady who wrote Harry Potter had to leave town, go in a secluded place that allows her to become in tune with nature, to be able to churn out some of those masterpieces that she wrote. Right. So we want to also know what consists elements of of effective writing. So then we also want to take a look at AI's role in enhancing writing. And then it's important. This is a new innovation, and laws are consistently being churned out to ensure that ethics, that there are some rules and regulations that are put in place. For example, for many of us who are in the technology industry, we have heard about what we call deep fakes, where you can actually clone somebody's voice, clone their picture, create some sort of synthetic data, and produce videos that look exactly like the person with their voice almost very similar to the person's voice, but the individual never said those. We have seen AI where people use AI to make music, to create new music using an artist's voice without the artist being the one who recorded the music. So ethical considerations are really important in the stratosphere of AI, because it's important. Just a few days ago, Elon Musk released some robots. I think they are called humanoids. They can easily consistently chat with a human being and give answers that are almost very human-like. And the goal, I think, is sold for like $30,000. And the goal is that those things can help out with some human tasks. We are in the world of self-autonomous cars that can drive themselves. You don't need a driver for that. And these things are going to be fierce competitions for companies like Uber, Lyft, and some other ones as well. In fact, the latest advancement in that self-autonomous cars is that you can park this car in your parking lot for folks who are in the US and who know what parking lot is, right? You can park the car in the parking lot and stand somewhere else. The car will use your current location to find where you are and move out of the parking lot to meet you where you are. They are looking at these self-autonomous cars to become taxis in the future. So the likes of Elon Musk and some other technologists and like the founders of Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, they are all making very tremendous research contributions to ensure that AI is advancing, but the ethical considerations is very important. And finally, we're going to take a look at what's the future for AI and as it pertains to writing. All right. So first things first. First things first. Before I define what I have on the screen, there are four core areas of communication, and the two of them are expressive. The other ones are ones where you have to pay attention and grab information. Two gives of information, two receives information. So we have writing, we have speaking. Those are the two that gives that information. Then we have I think the third one is listening. And if I remember the fourth one, I would also mention that as well. So people consider people who write effectively and speak effectively as geniuses. You know, it's one thing to open your mouth and say things. It's another thing to be able to thoughtfully, conscientiously, and thoroughly organize your thought. It's called articulation. The ability to articulate your thoughts properly is an art. So people spend time learning how to write. When you hear some ancient philosophers like the likes of Aristotle and some other ones that we know, orators who are fluent, who understands the fluidity of speech, who understands what it means to speak and command people's attention. It's called an art. That's why some of them are referred to as philosophers on the long run, because they knew how to generate thoughts and be able to communicate it effectively. So if you're someone who knows how to pen your thoughts together, and on top of that, you know how to put your words together when you're speaking, people will generally consider you as a genius. But a lot of folks don't know that, but that's a highly sought after skill. Speaking and writing are highly sought after skills. The current most expensive writer in the world should be the lady who wrote the Harry Potter series. I actually don't know why I can't remember her name now. All right. So, what is writing? Writing is the formation of letters to express words and idea. The goal is to express. The goal of writing, speaking, listening, reading, that's the last one. All of those four of them, the goal is to be able to communicate thoughts. the goal is to communicate thoughts. When you're reading someone's material, the author of the material is communicating his or her thoughts to you. When you're writing, your goal is to communicate to someone who is going to be your reader. When you're speaking, the members of your audience, the goal is that they will be able to assimilate what you're saying and maybe take some action much later, right? So the formation of letters to express words and idea, that's writing in its own self. So almost everybody could write. Let me just say it that way. But not everybody could write effectively. We'll get to see the reason why it's so. And then when we now get down to what effective writing is, you see that first of all, there's the place of legibility. It means what you're writing is readable. When people stumble upon your work, it's readable. They can be able to understand what you're saying. A lot of people write, but they write illegibly. They cannot be able to articulate their words properly in writing. So that is to say that when someone begins to speak about effective writing, you're talking about something that is clear. What was originally in your mind is exactly what is on paper, and it's very clear, right? So number two, it's accurate. You know, if you're someone who writes consistently, you will understand that there are seasons when your mind sometimes is faster than your hands. And so by the time you read what you've written, it's in contrast to what was already in your mind. And so you have to wait again to proofread it. That's why people start vetting their work. They start editing. That's why we have editors, right? And then it's going to be concise. There is something we call verbosity of words. A lot of people write words that are bogus, like using excessive words to express something they could have written in shorter terms. There is a terminology called sesquipedalian or sesquipedalianism. People who love to use obscure words or people who love to use words that are big to communicate their ideas and thoughts. You won't be able to effectively communicate with people. So there's a place of clarity, there's a place of accuracy, and then there's a place of your words being concise enough. That's what constitutes effective writing. And then, like I said earlier on, writing in itself is a skill. When you now add effective writing to it, it's considered an art in itself. So you see, people are always going to come to your page. If you run a blog, they can come to your page. They're always looking forward to you writing because you consistently, in a very thorough fashion, articulate your thoughts on paper. You know, we in Africa sometimes we downplay the essence of writing, and that's the problem. That's why people are telling our story, people are telling our history. Why are people who came before us did not consider it worthy to pen traditions, to pen down culture, to pen down our history down on paper? And so, because they are orally transmitted, a lot of errors could come into it during transmission. Sometimes people don't even get to transmit what happened, and then we lose it. So, writing is a very important skill. Especially, I believe that some folks on the call are people who are considering the educational path. You will learn how to communicate your thoughts. For instance, most schools, when you apply here to the US, will ask you to get an English test. And part of the reason for that is that they want to understand if you can actually learn in that college setting. They want to know if you know how to communicate your thoughts properly. They want to know if you can be able to understand how to listen from a native English speaker. So, and another thing that effective writing does is that it helps you to know your audience. It helps you to know your audience. All right. Oh, sorry. Okay. So it helps you to know your audience. Every effective writer knows their audience and they try to communicate to them based on how they are doing things. All right. So AI, AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody's speaking about AI today. People are talking about robotics, right? People are speaking about deep learning. People are mentioning machine learning. What is AI? In simplest term, it's the ability of machines to do human-like responsibilities without some sort of overseeing from humans. The ability of a machine to predict something without a human being interfering or interfering in that given process. So it's the process of building intelligent machines from vast volume of data. When you talk about AI, you talk about data, pieces of information that has been scraped from almost everything around us. So what happens is that from the picture we have here on screen, we gather these vast volumes of data. I heard, for example, ChatGPT 3.5 was trained with billions, we call it corpus of data, was trained with millions, billions of data, like billions of data. And so that our ordinary computers cannot do that training. So they have dedicated supercomputers, like they are quantum computers that are dedicated to training those ones. So our normal computers can't do that. If you do it, you crash your computers. So for us to talk about AI, we're talking about intelligent machines that can do human-like responsibilities. So what happens is that they are machines and they don't have a thinking faculty. So what happens is that we gather sometimes historical data. We gather historical data in large volumes and we train these machines on them. So what happens is that because these machines are just machines, they don't have a level of human intelligence. They are subjected to learning from the data. For some of us who make use of deep learning, what we do is like we split our data into three portions, or if you want to do cross validation, that's also very okay. You split it into what we call train, we have test, and then we have validation data. So the training test sometimes could be around 80% of the overall data, and we subject the machine to this kind of data, and the machine learns from the training data, and we validate the learning process on the validation data. And then to know if the machine learned properly, we give it what we call an unseen data or the test set. So the machine tries to know if it can generalize to data it has never seen before. So that's what we have. That's almost like the kind of pipeline that we use. But what we're saying is that when we speak about AI, that's the key word there is artificial. It means it's not natural intelligence, so it's actually learned. So systems learn from past learning and experience and perform human-like tasks. All right. So there's also the use of complex algorithms to direct them on how to act and learn from such kinds of data. All right. So now what's the problem? Why are we thinking about the application of AI in writing? So, but we are human beings, we have the brain. Research has shown that the human brain, maybe up to 30 or 40% of the human brain is underutilized till the individual dies. Right. So why are we actually looking at AI as something that can help us optimize our writing? So the first thing on our list today is what we call the writer's block. I write. I don't know if there's any other person on the call who writes. I write. And there are seasons where probably because you've stayed away from the writing scene for a while, your ability to pen down thoughtful words become rusty. You know, there's something we call oxidation in chemistry, where if you leave an ion material, I think Fe2O3, that's the chemical formula for that, I can't remember. Or that's for oxidation anyway. So when you leave ion outside and it reacts with oxygen, it leads to some sort of oxidation. What happens is that we begin to see traces of rust on the material. If you're using a machine that has moving parts and you don't lubricate it, after a while, it's going to be cranky. It won't work properly. So what happens? The machine is supposed to work. It has some sort of output, but because it may not have been used for a while, it begins to get rusty. So writer's block occurs when the writer does not know how to start writing, or you're writing, but you don't know how to proceed. Like it's not coming, it's not natural. You want to write something, you stop, you drop the pen, you go grab food, you come back, it's not working. You ease yourself, you get water, you talk with friends, you come back, it's not working. You travel down, sit under nature, it's not working. So that's some things that could constitute a writer's block, meaning you're trying your possible best to pen down your thoughts, but nothing is coming out. Uneven writing tempo. So in some instances, the person is pushing out words, is very profound with words and all of that. After a while, sometimes it's as though it's hard to still continue with that tempo, right? We're talking about the utilization of the human brain to pen down words. And that one could be awkward structure. You're writing something, the words are coming out, but you're looking at what you're writing. Even you know that this thing is not normal. It's not cool. The words are not flowing properly. The paragraph structure is not there. you are struggling to write some proverbs, you're struggling to put out a couple of things, the grammar, the tenses, the semantics, everything is not coming in place. You don't even know where to put comma anymore. You don't know where to put semicolon. So the structure you have on ground is awkward. The biggest one is usually difficulty in getting started. So what happens to me as a writer is like I've written a lot of essays in my life. So what usually happens to me is that if it's not a day before the day we're supposed to submit that, like the deadline day, nothing useful will come out of my brain. It can if I try, but sometimes it's usually like 3 hours. It's as though the whole engines, everything is tuned up, tuned up. I can be able to churn out 2,000 words in less than 1 hour. Very possible. The day I wrote my TOEFL exam, I wrote a 2,000 word essay. That's the deadline was by 12. I think I finished by around 11:58. Started around 9:10 or thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I was able to do that. So the challenge is sometimes most writers find it difficult to get started. Right? They find it difficult to get can you can't hear me?
No, I think it's from his end. I think it's
Oh,
from
but
his
everybody
end.
can hear me, right?
Can another person is there another person experiencing the same problem? Can other people hear us? Can you just say something? Can someone say something?
You can unmute
I
yourself.
can hear you, sir.
Okay,
I
good.
can hear you.
Okay. That means it's from his end.
Yeah,
You
so
should look
he
at
should
his
find a way
end.
around it. Maybe log off and log in again. All right.
Yeah.
So now a lot of people want to do magic. A lot of people want to do magic. You don't know how to write. You don't want to take classes. You don't want to take master classes, brush yourself up. And then you want to do magic. You want to produce 1,000 words in 30 minutes. Learning how to write or growing your writing skill comes from consistently writing, understanding the grammar, the structure, the semantics that is part of the English language. Another one is improving on your vocabulary, right? And then we have other ones here as well. We have poor vocabulary, poor paragraph design, and the rest of them. That's the problem we have because we are looking at the human mind. So what's the solution? We're going to be looking at AI in writing properly, right? Why is it that a lot of people are tilting towards the direction of AI? And how is AI providing this solution to us? Somebody is marking something on the screen. I don't know. All right, so let's continue. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. All right. So AI in writing. So the truth is that for every one of us on this call, we can gladly say that AI is changing the narrative about writing. In fact, when ChatGPT 3.5 came, I think I was in my first year. In fact, I took an artificial intelligence class. Now the professor gave us some assignment and asked us to use ChatGPT for it. And so, in fact, some of the research was that with the way ChatGPT is going, with the way it's going, that writers will go out of we go out of job. They will no longer be in vogue. Because ChatGPT can give you an essay, a comprehension, in maybe like in 5-10 minutes compared to you as an author who will sit down to write. So AI is changing the narratives. We have softwares like Grammarly. We have this one called Turnitin that can help you check for plagiarism checker, and plus other software people are using. There are softwares that can help you summarize literature, like what people have written, or you want to write a research paper on maybe the application of deep learning to alcohol intoxication detection. It will search for some of the papers in that place and summarize them. Others will allow you get the papers yourself and they will summarize it. You don't have to read the whole paper. So there's improvement in productivity, right? Amen. There's also the place of improvement in creativity because you as an individual have a pattern of thinking, but when you apply AI to what you're already doing, there's an improvement in creativity because this AI has interacted with different dimensions of data. ChatGPT was not just trained on just textual data alone. current ChatGPT 4.0 can plot graphs for you. ChatGPT 4.0 can generate images for you. We have other ones. There are large learning models that do what we call, as part of the generative AI. They can just generate images for you, generate videos for you. So it's improving creativity. And then there's also the place of accessibility. Before, if you write a book and you want your book to be proofread, to be vetted to see if it's grammatically sound and all of that, you have to pay an editor. But now you can just simply put what you've written into ChatGPT, and it will look at all the whole structure you have on ground and make corrections for you, right? And so on the other side, we have some examples of AI tools in writing. We have Grammarly, which is well known. We have ChatGPT, and then we have Hemingway Editor, right? And again, this thing depends on the kind of writing you're doing. So that's what's going to prompt the kind of software, AI software you're going to be using for what you're doing. All right. One good thing that AI has also done in writing is that it has improved personalization. It has improved personalization. What happens is that sometimes your answers, or the answers this AI gives to you, is tailored very personally to what you've asked from it. So there is this sort of generalization, but it's tailored and geared towards what you're asking it for. That's why a lot of people today are learning about what we call prompt engineering, how to query large learning models to get the best answers out of them. Prompt engineering, and people are making money out of it. Prompt engineers, right? So how is AI improving writing? The first one is grammar and style checks. For instance, my school, most of the communication media in my school is through email. Professors communicate with teaching staff or communicate with students via email. So sometimes when I type in an email I'm about to send to a professor, um, the grammar checker that is embedded with the email system, we underline the word in red. And when you hover over that word, it will tell you probably you need to add a preposition in front or add the comma after you've written the word. And so by the time you follow that prompting and you click on the word, you will see that when you read the whole word again, it makes more sense. So your grammar is checked to ensure that it follows the rules and regulations or the written styles for the English language or any other language, wherever. Because I mean, we have advancements in natural language processing where some AI tools are helping to do real-time language translation. You translate from some words from English to French, or vice versa, from English to Spanish, or vice versa, as the case may be. So AI has helped to improve grammar and style checks, right? This ensures that whatever you're churning out to the public looks very standard and professional. I guess I'm also talking to people who are not struggling to write in shorthand form, because that's also a different case entirely. But I'm talking to people who already writing but want to improve their writing skills, right? Number two, there's the place of vocabulary enhancement. I use ChatGPT, and part of the things I've also learned from it is that I learn new words by using ChatGPT. Not just this, even old Microsoft Word has a place where you can, when you right click on it, can generate new words for you, synonyms. And the use of synonyms is the fastest way of learning new words in the English language. If you can be able to learn 5 synonyms for one single word, I'm telling you, there's going to be an improvement in your vocabulary. So a lot of tools, even Grammarly does this as well. There's a place of vocabulary enhancement. It improves your vocabulary as a writer, right? So because naturally, if you don't read a lot and you write, you will see that there is going to be the repetition of same word across multiple paragraphs in your writing. For instance, somebody can keep using the word effective in paragraph 1, use it in paragraph 2, use it in paragraph 3 and 4, probably in two consecutive sentences. But some of these AI tools can simply look at that effective and change it to another word that is synonymous with effective. And so when people read through your word, there is this seamless flow. There is this seamless flow of words. Even you yourself, when you're reading it, it's enjoyable, right? So the third thing that happens is idea generation. Because when you want to write, it's harder. to start. So, but here you can just put in a prompt into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I want to write an essay on okay, I want to write a statement of purpose in the field of polymers or in the field of material science. Can you just give me a structure?" You're not asking ChatGPT to write the SOP for you. I'm sure that nobody on this call uses ChatGPT to write their statement of purpose. You will never make it here. In all honesty,
I'm telling you.
you will never make it here. In fact, there was a debate that was going on Twitter one time where a professor saw what he didn't know was that Nigerians are advanced users of the English language. And I'm telling you, that's the truth. I'm not saying that because I'm here or because I'm a Nigerian. Nigerians are advanced users of the English language because all through our primary school, right from nursery, primary, secondary school, even up to university level, we communicate in English. So there's some English words that are very peculiar to us. I can't remember the name that the professor saw and felt like it was generated by AI, and Nigerians nearly finished that man. They nearly finished him because slightly he was berating. He didn't feel that we were capable enough of utilizing some of those words. So I'm sure that everybody on this call, you do not use your ChatGPT to generate your SOP. It would not make sense. They will know because these things are machines that are trained. And so there are certain trends you will see in their answers. You will know it's AI generated. So I strongly believe I'm talking to people who are writing but want to improve on the writing. God is my witness. It's even when I came to the US, I learned about some of these AI tools. I didn't know what they were. All the whole essays schools asked us to do, the school I'm currently writing, every one of them we wrote from our head. We wrote from our head. You can look at other people's work, get a glimpse of what they did, and write your own story. Because ChatGPT won't write your story for you. So, but you can use it for idea generation. You can use it to brainstorm. And these things, the success rates of some of these things is dependent on your ability to know how to prompt. So a lot of people will just simply type two lines of word for ChatGPT, and then you give it. Somebody else will put the same thing, and your answers will be similar. But if you take time and write a more detailed prompt, you see that the answers you get sometimes will be more detailed and it will be more concise as compared to someone who just threw some things into it and expected to give you very elaborate answers. If you're a follower of ChatGPT, you understand right now that they have started assigning memories to it. For some of us who are doing deep learning with time series data, we have the issue of what we call vanishing gradient, or the challenge that when you begin to pass data into recurrent neural networks, if it's a very long sequence, after a while it begins to forget the old data. That happens to ChatGPT. You can just take your time and try these things out. You can be discussing something with ChatGPT and leave it and return back again and submit something. It has forgotten the previous conversation, but they're improving on it right now by adding memory to it. All right. So for folks who are doing research, AI too can improve your work or is already improving our work by summarizing literature. So you don't have to spend time reading 50 papers. And I'm not saying you shouldn't read 50 papers. If you have the time, please do so. It's very important so that you can have a total understanding of what you're writing and the contribution that you are making scholarly. But these guys can help you summarize this very well, give you a glimpse of what the paper is saying about what is it all about. Then if it is a paper that you are really interested in and it's part and parcel of the work you want to do, you read it in depth. So, but by summarizing, it saves you the first initial time. So you make the decision quicker to know if it's a paper you want to work on or not, right? So it's also used for content optimization. You can use it to optimize your content to suit your target audience, right? It's important. It does that. It optimizes your content, makes it more concise, more readable, and more appealing to the kind of audience you want to write. Especially for those who are bloggers, who write blog posts. You know, some of these AI tools can also help to work on your tone. I see Grammarly does that. Let's say you want to write an official letter to your boss, For example, we in writing, if you type in capital letters throughout, people consider it as being rude. So there you see it on social media where people are dropping comments on people's posts and they are writing every single thing in block letters, in capital letters. It's considered rude. And it's considered like it's seen like you are shouting or probably you are angry. And that's what we call the tonality of words. So Grammarly can look at what you've written and looking at the context of words with each other, how the kind of semantics each word gives to the other one. It can be able to help to tone down on how you fix words in your sentences. You see, so writing is very similar to speaking. Your voice and your tonality matters. That's why if great public speakers understand the principles of pause, understand stage management, they understand voice inflection. You are considered a boring speaker if you speak on a flat voice all throughout your presentation. So at some point, your voice is supposed to be bubbling with some sort of energy to say, this guy is passionate about what he's saying. Maybe you want to say something that is quite somber. You reduce your voice a little bit and just speak in little tiny tones. Draw closer to the members of your audience. Speak about what you want to speak. So those things are important. But in writing, they're going to be seeing your use of punctuation mark. Those things matter because if you use I've forgotten the exclamation mark while you're writing, it shows somebody's is exclaiming. If you use the question mark, somebody's asking questions. So the tonality and the voice adaptation is very important, right? Some of these AI tools can also help you with citation. A very quick caveat or warning. We have also been told multiple times that if you are using ChatGPT for any of your research work, don't ever use it to generate citations or references. It will generate non-existent citations or references for you. And when these things, when your work goes to be peer reviewed, it will look like you did something that is shady. And you know that academic fraud here is a big thing in the US. I don't know about Nigeria for now. It's a very big thing. If you are caught cheating, is a very big offense. You can get rusticated. Finally, plagiarism detection. So there's a class we took, a deep learning class that we took, that the professor gave us things to do. So my school was using Turnitin. Is it Turnitin or Turnitin? Where if a professor wants it to be used in his or her course, they sign up for it. And so when students submit their work, that particular software will run through their submissions and check through some other publicly available sites and check to what extent your work matches with some of those ones outside there. If you copy things verbatim, they will know. That's why when you're done writing and putting your writing samples together, it's very important that even your SOP, you run your SOP through some of this plagiarism checker to know. But if you wrote every words of your SOP by yourself, I really will encourage people, utilize um don't ever utilize don't ever utilize AI software to write your SOP. Write every single thing yourself. Write it. It will improve your writing on the long run. All right. Sorry, let's see. Okay. All right. So AI tools for writers. I just copied this is like some sets of tools. There are a lot of them. Some set of tools and then put them in some categories. Tools that writers can use that can help to optimize their work, right? So we have the category called the writing assistants. And the most notable ones that we have here is Grammarly. We have the free version and we have the paid version. We have Pro Writing Aid. And so their goal is to help your grammar, ensure that your writing has a layer of clarity, and then works on your tone improvement, which I've explained from the previous slide. They will help to work on the tonality of your words, right? The tonality of your words. They will have sorry, just give me a sec. Let me see. Okay, so we have a second category called the content generators. So for example, for the writing assistant, there are a lot of them. You can always use Google to find more about them depending on what you're doing. And I forgot to mention that we have different categories of writing. We have folks who do things around search engine optimization. We have people who write for blogs, we have technical writing, we have fiction, we have prose writing, we have those who do poetic writing or poem or poetry. We have those who do different kinds of writing. So the kind of writing you do will determine the kind of AI tools you can use for writing. It will determine that. But there are ones that are more common and very generic in nature that almost every writer can be able to make use of them. And so over to content generators, what these guys do is that they help you to hit the ground running. That's what they do. When you want to start, the first is like you hit the you run. They help you again, you hit the ground running. Then you hit the ground running because because it's hard to write. Trust me, that's why in very sane climes like the US here, if they see you plagiarizing somebody's work, you can even is a jailable offense because
Yeah.
they consider it as an intellectual property. They have people who call IP lawyers. Their goal is to ensure that people don't infract on people's intellectual property. Till date, I think it's Sony record labels still get paid commission for the intellectual property on Michael Jackson's songs. I think it was Diddy who was getting that. I'm not so sure about the story. In the US here, if they find out that you maybe like you found a crack for Microsoft Word and you used it, the Lord is my muscle, you know. So they want you to pay for every single thing because it's people's brainchild. I'm not saying they don't steal people's work here, but don't be caught because if you're caught, it's a problem. You will be sued and you'll be fined for it. So that's why I know how much J.K. Rowling rakes in. I know how much they rake in James Patterson. Is it Patterson or the other about? I know how much those people rake in.
James Patterson.
Yeah, they earn lots and lots of money for their fictional writing, right? So those things are there, right? So for content generators, so instead of you know going through the hassles of writer's block, not knowing the exact adjective to start with or the adjective to end with or what the middle is going to look like, how many paragraphs do you want in your work? You can say, hey, ChatGPT, I want us to have a conversation. And I want to write an essay on how to travel from Africa to the US without flying. Or I want us to write an article on how I can fly through Benin Airways, maybe by Broom. Both of you will get on a talk, and ChatGPT will generate content for you. But I want you to ensure that whatever content you're generating is not the actual content, probably more like structure to give you structure to what to write. Because what I've seen is that, addictions are stuff that are hard to break. Once you begin to rely on AI for things for you, it's usually very hard to break out from. Your brain will become dormant. We also have Jasper. The goal is ideation. Some top companies in the world every January gathers their think tanks, put them in a room together. They begin to brainstorm on how to ensure the company generates enough revenue, break into some new market
That's your
segments
pen.
and the rest of them, right? So for we writers, ideation can be helped when we use AI tools like ChatGPT. Can, it can give us an early draft of what an essay we are supposed to write should look like, can help us create an early draft, and then we can go on, work on it, make it more human-like. It can also help you to rephrase words. There are seasons where too that it's like, hey, you know what, ChatGPT, I want you to make this write-up look more human. So it will try to just turn around things, and it will give you something new. But most times I like to always write my own stuff. I always try to write my own stuff. I use ChatGPT more in debugging codes. Earlier on, if you're someone who makes use of computing and writes programs, you know that in early days we majorly make use of Stack Overflow, where you go to and it's a tedious task. So if I run into any problem, I copy the error prompt, put it in ChatGPT. Sometimes it will just look at the error prompt and give you an answer, and it saves you a lot of time, right? And again, it can also provide codes for you. But again, ensure that you know how those things work, have an intuition behind it, you know. So if you don't know how to write code, but at least know how to read other people's codes to know what it does. So we have editing tools as well, like Hemingway, Slick Write. The goal is to ensure that there is the principle of readability, and then it refines the structure of your work. We have sentiment analysis. Oh, I've used IBM Watson before. It tries to adjust the tonality, and it tries to target a specific audience. I've used IBM Watson before to create a chatbot when I was learning some things before, you know. So there are a lot of them, and these are some of the categories. There are thousands and thousands of them. People are churning out AI softwares that can help writers. Okay. So now more AI tools for writing. These are a lot of them here. Some of them I've never used them before. Some I've used them. So it's up to you to look at them if you and just take a look at what they do and be able to see if they will target you. For example, I know I stumbled upon a write-up where people mention things like phrase.io, and then somebody also mentioned Jasper.ai. I saw it where people use it for generating blog content and the rest of them, you know. So yeah, even WordTune, you can use WordTune to tune the words you've written in an article before, you know. And so these are some other ones too. Maybe you can take a screenshot of that if you want to check them online, or you can easily see them on Google. They are everywhere. The goal is that they will improve the precision of your writing, right? They will improve on the precision of your writing. Okay. So let's just look at a case study of how AI can enhance writing effectiveness. So we just have a company, we call it XYZ company, and it's a wellness company, and their goal is that they sell supplements. And so the challenge is that, you know, when you're a brand, the goal is that how do you develop your marketing ads to target specific people that need to see your product and interact with your product to the end that they will buy them and probably be returning, be returning. Who is this? Sorry, be returning.
You have you have
Why am I
stopped
flagging
sharing
it? Oh
your
really?
system. Check from your end.
I didn't know what was going on. Sorry. Let me see. Can you see it?
It's dark.
Not yet,
So,
not yet.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
Yes, yes, it's on now.
it's
Okay, yeah.
talking.
So they have a challenge, and the challenge is that the marketing team wants to improve the interaction between their users and they themselves, right? And so you know that. So let me just say something that might sound a little bit controversial. You've seen the cases where during the Nigerian election, where people who were handling some social media handles forgot to log out and posted something that had some layers of bigotry and tribalism through a state government handle. And it caused an uproar in the country, and people were clamoring that they should arrest them and the rest of them. That's how powerful writing can be. And so companies invest on their PR. Companies invest a lot of tons and tons of money on their PR, on how they appear in public. We heard a story about the man who incarcerated a woman because she gave a bad review about his company's product. And when people pressed his neck, we had to hire a foreign PR to do damage control. So those are those issues. Some companies don't have proper PR, and so the tonality of the words they churn out on their page is bad. There's no clarity. There's no alignment with their search engine optimization goals. The goal is that their brand should be seen. When you do a Google search on this product, they should appear at least in the first five. That's the challenge they have. Readers don't interact with their social media pages or their website, right? And they don't have search engine visibility. So what will happen is that their goal is that they want their content to be as clear as possible. Again, that's why when we're talking about effective writing, your audience is very important. You know, if you're talking to Gen Zs, you don't have any business using very big words because vast majority of them don't interact with those words. In fact, they have new words for themselves. So if your target audience are Gen Zs, you need to align whatever content you're churning out to suit their narrative where they are at the moment. For them, that's engagement. That's why a lot of companies are really flooding towards TikTok because that's where you see a lot of Gen Zs. I coach here like me because I'm an old school guy. I don't fancy TikTok. I don't know what they do there. I don't know what they do on TikTok. So we're a little bit tilted towards chances like maybe Facebook. Maybe WhatsApp is just where you can see me majorly. You really will see me on some of those social media platforms because I feel like as you grow older, just drop a couple of things. You don't need them again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what will the company naturally do as we're talking about AI in writing? So the company can come up with 3 AI tools that they will use. In most modern companies today, you cannot send something out to the media world without the company passing it through Grammarly. And they use the paid version. They will pass it through Grammarly to ensure that the grammar is consistent with their brand, what they represent, and the tone of the words used there don't come off as harsh. And there's a layer of clarity. It's just that I can't remember an example of there's something we call ambiguity. Ambiguity. And sometimes we see that when you introduce a subject of a sentence and introduce another sentence, for example, let's say, you say something like Obi and Tunde came to visit the president. Full stop. Okay, sorry, let me get another example. Tunde came to visit the president. He was delighted to see him. Tunde came to see the president. He was delighted to see him. If you look at that sentence very well, there's a layer of ambiguity, right? Because we don't know if the person that is described in the second portion of the sentence is Tunde or the president. We don't know. So it's ambiguous. So that's why these companies try as much as possible to offer a layer of clarity to whatever articles they are churning out there. So they use Grammarly to achieve that for this XYZ health company, right? They can also use ChatGPT for their team of writers for ideation, for content expansion, and then for drafting suggestions. It's not the main content itself. No, but it's going to help them with some of these things I just mentioned now. And then there's a software called Software SEO. They use it to optimize the search keywords. So because when you use this software, they know what the people want out there. They will begin to infuse those keywords, put them into your write-up so that when people search for those keywords, your content will come up as at the top of every search, depending on the browser or the search engine you're using. All right. So now we have mentioned a couple of things about AI, but it's very important too that we talk about a couple of things. Responsibility for us as AI users, right? The first thing on our list is what we call ethical considerations. Ethical considerations. Some schools across the world, especially we who are here in the US, are consistently churning out articles alerting students on the dangers of over-reliance on AI. In all honesty, sometimes I feel like I can also be a victim. Because the thing is that, oh, well, why would I go and search the internet when I can easily tell ChatGPT to give me this? There are seasons too where I had to, if I run into a problem, I will not put it on ChatGPT. I will put it online so that I can also master the art of surfing for answers online. Because if you give it to ChatGPT to do it for you, you can go to places where they don't allow the use of ChatGPT in their work. They could be, and then you are stuck. So there's the avoidance of over-reliance on AI, ethical issues. What are you supposed to use or put into an AI material? What are you allowed to do so? The number 2 thing is data privacy. For some of us who work with data, so the school will sometimes send out emails warning that students should not put their private information on ChatGPT, because every time you ask ChatGPT a question, it is fine-tuning itself on those prompts, and those information you send to it will never leave its database. That's what's going on. It is even though it's a large learning model, it's still a machine learning model. It will keep learning how to generalize to an unseen data using the data you put into it. So what are you allowed to put into ChatGPT? It's very important. So we need to harness AI responsibly. You need to safeguard your data as a user. It's not every single thing you're supposed to put into some of this AI software. You need to be very careful of what you put into it, right? Number 3, AI tools have limitation. They are machines for a reason. So there are complex materials that you will give to them that they will not interpret it the way a human being can. They're called nuances. So the more complex the materials are, the more their limitations are rising from the kind of answers that they will give to you. So what you need to do is when you get the answers, you try to review them. That's why you, as the user of such AI tool, must have a background knowledge about how those things work. So when they give you an answer that is out of place, you can easily query it more to find out. Human oversight is crucial, right? You shouldn't use ChatGPT to replace your thinking faculty or Poe.com or Jasper.ai or any other Grammarly or whatsoever. Even if when they review your materials, go through it again and critically think about it, the impact of when people interact with this work if it is not vetted properly, right? And then the last but the least, AI can give you misleading answers. Fact. The accuracy is not entirely accurating. That's a new word. Sometimes they can give you answers that are made up. For example, when you want to use ChatGPT to generate references, it will give you made up data that are non-existent. And there's something we call implicit bias. This is something that was trained on a corpus of data. So it will always tilt towards bias hidden within that data. We have seen some people who try to do, this is not a political garden, who try to think about Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and they put it in ChatGPT and answers are biased. So just to let you know that these tools have implicit bias. And so you should be aware of that when you're utilizing them to improve on your work, because the biases are hidden in the data they were trained on. All right. So what's the future of AI in writing? There are a couple of things we call emerging trends. So we are looking at real-time editing, where as you are generating your work, you're putting them into an AI material, they are editing as you are creating your work. Real-time editing, right? There's also the place of advanced personalization. They try to draw it home closer to the user who is utilizing this AI tool. There's also the place of multilingual support. With the advent of transformers, where there's an improvement in natural language processing, we have BERT, we have transformer, and a couple of other ones that their works are around probably language processing. The future looks very bright, where you can create some writing materials and AI automatically changes them into multiple languages. Maybe depending, tailoring them to your users of different language background, right? So if you're a consistent user of ChatGPT, you will see that ChatGPT is now beginning to, sometimes the answers, the way they used answer in ChatGPT 3.5 has differed a lot with the way it is in Chat 4.0. Sometimes it will generate 2 or 3 answers for you and ask you which one is the best for you. It's also learning through your materials. So the goal is that on the long run in the future, that some of these AI tools will begin to write more naturally like humans. So that's some of the future trends. There are other ones too as well, but these are some of the future trends for AI in writing. So in summary, AI is powerful and its support system has improved writing over time, right? And not just writing, it has improved the quality of the works that we have. And it's efficient. So you have to do very little work while it does majority of the work for you. Your goal is just to supervise it and ensure that whatever it's churning out is very accurate and not biased. And we are saying that in as much as you're using these, ensure that you use them ethically to ensure that the outcomes are for positive impact. A lot of people have used AI to swindle people using deep fakes, creating of synthetic data, and all of that. So you need to use AI ethically so that it can have positive impact, and ensure that you explore AI tools thoughtfully. Explore AI tools thoughtfully. It's very important as you're doing that. Don't let it consume your ability to think properly. Sometimes intentionally shut out AI tools and write as a human. Intentionally do that sometimes. So one of the things I do is that there was a season when I was very active on social media. Part of the things I did is like I gave myself a writing challenge that I was gonna churn out 2 articles on social media every day and like very real. So what would that do for you? You keep reading, you keep interacting to know what's currently going on, you have information, you keep interacting with written materials, you grow, your vocabulary grows, your ability to structure word grows, and then you experience what we call fluidity of words, right? You can even understand what it means to be verbose. You can just know how to churn out articles. Sometimes just separate yourself from the use of AI and just think, apply your creative ability, in words. So overall, explore AI tools thoughtfully. So thank you all for having me today, and it's been a pleasure um to be able to share this with all of you. I don't know if anybody has any question whatsoever. I'm free.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Uche. That was a wonderful presentation there. You
Thank you.
see, at Edu Afrique, we search for the best, and whatever topic we want to treat, we get the experts in that field. And you know, as you guys can see, Uche is an expert in the field, and he has actually impacted not just in you guys, but also in me too, because we learn on a daily basis. Yes, we learn from even people that we may be thinking that I was discussing with someone yesterday. I told him that knowledge is transient, and in most cases, you should not always show that you know it, even though you know it, because each day you learn, unlearn, and relearn. So, thank you so much, Uche, for this masterpiece, and thank you for sharing this information with us. Probably at this question and answer stage is a period that we can even, from the questions people come up with, you can even do some of one or two um, practicality using some of these tools like ChatGPT and all that. So we will be taking questions one after the other. Then from your questions, we can actually even do some practical so I can see if you have a question, you can raise up your hand, and from the participant page, I'll be pointing you. Okay, I think I can see someone, Gospel Asuku. Gospel Asuku, can you raise, can you
Thank you
unmute and
so
speak?
much. Yes, I have permission. Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody. Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me,
Yeah,
everyone?
Yeah, we
yeah, we
can.
can hear you. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Thank, thank I really appreciate the presentation. It was a five-star presentation. I have a few questions. First of all, he talked about, he admonished us not to use AI in our essay, especially. I would like to know because as a person, I don't really like using ChatGPT, but almost a good number of my writing, when I write on a Microsoft, because I don't link my Microsoft, the crack version to my Grammarly, is when I want to check for the punctuation and accuracy, appropriateness, and clarity. I upload it on my Google Doc, which I link my Grammarly to. So does it, if one wants to check for, should I say, AI generated content, is there a way, can that be regarded as your work being generated by AI? You write it yourself, but AI can Grammarly sometimes will make suggestion, okay, put it this way, those clarity, correction, and appropriateness. So I would like to know for, let's say, personal statement or statement of purpose that you submit, would it be seen as AI generated content in that context? I wouldn't know if my question.
Oh yeah. So I think I understand your question. So if you follow the trajectory of the presentation properly, you see that you are allowed to use those things to give structure to your work, to whatever you've written, but not the content in itself. So where I said you are not supposed to use ChatGPT to generate is the content of your SOP. I mean, that's your story you're telling. Whether it's personal statement or your statement of purpose, it's your story. But we have limitations as humans. And so that's what some of those machines are trying to improve on, like to optimize our content. Write the SOP yourself, submit it to ChatGPT. Yeah. Submit it to ChatGPT to give you structure. Maybe there's some places you are not doing it very well. You understand? I mean, during our own time, I never interacted with any AI tool. I wrote it, gave it to my friend to look at it. That's how some of us did our own. But folks are now using AI to give structure, not the content in itself. Because these schools you are submitting this thing to have advanced softwares at the first, and this turn it on, even though sometimes it makes mistakes, right? They have advanced softwares that you can submit your works to, that they will submit your essays to, and it will run against it. Now, it will check the percentage level of plagiarism or AI generated content within it. And they can, on that basis, decide that they will not review your admission. And they'll just simply send you an email letter telling you that you didn't make it. But it could be because of that. So as much as possible, make your contents very, very human-like. Write them yourself. You are free to use Grammarly to make changes to some grammatical structures and tone, but make sure that the overall written material is yours. And you can do it, right? Just use Grammarly to provide that structure. In that context, to the best of my knowledge, it's not considered plagiarism or an AI-generated material. It's just using it for giving context to whatever it thinks you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, I will add another one. Sometimes, like you said, the naturalness of our writing, but I kind of feel a little bit awkward with Grammarly also because you might put your writings in the context of the natural language, but then you will understand some of the buzzwords like machine words to just try to correct you. But you know what you are writing, you know what you are looking for, just that you are not very sure about the grammar structure, but then you understand that the grammar is trying to change the context of it. I wouldn't know if it's because of my level of understanding of English or it's trying to put it in a machine form. But then I understand that most times when I write, I want it to be in a particular context, a natural language. But then the Grammarly tends to make it look like a generic terms. I wouldn't know what I can do about that. And in some contexts, I see yellow lines, just yellow lines, which it doesn't refer to appropriateness or clarity. I get them sometimes.
Okay, so um unless you want to do it old school like us, like during our own time. I wrote most of my stuff myself. I wrote it myself. Now, I think that schools are heavily investing or are investing heavily in some of these AI tools that dictate if something materials are written in AI. I mean, I'm a teaching assistant here. I work with professors here. And during staff meetings, they will ask you, to just know to check for plagiarism in student works. Because if you give students tests to write, they will generate the content from ChatGPT and submit. So it's a big bother for professors, not to mention you who wants to write an SOP and you're using AI to generate it. They will just move your materials quickly and move to other people. So if you feel like Grammarly may be changing the context that you want it to be, you're the author. Maybe just do it old school like us and just simply find a friend who is grammatically sound to also help you do that. Understand? At the end of the day, what it will do for you is that somebody will not disqualify your work based on the fact that he felt like there was AI content on it. But I do not think that if Grammarly simply introduce like one or two small structures to make it maybe to make the tone sound a little bit different, that it's going to result to you being dismissed for that. No, it's helping to give structure to your work. It's not the content in itself. But if you feel like there's a trajectory you want this work to follow, why not? If not, just simply stay with what you've written or give it to an advanced friend who understands the structure of the English language to also do the same for you, to go through your work and find out how it works. I don't know if that works for you.
Very
Yeah,
good. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
yeah,
welcome.
yeah, exactly. Because even myself, I always experience that sometimes when I'm writing an email to a professor or something, it will just suggest something. In that situation, the AI or the Grammarly is actually these things are not human beings. They
Yeah.
are machines. So they are thinking that this is what you're saying. But that is why, just like the speaker said, you should know what you're doing. So as long as you know what you're doing, you can ignore it. There is still room for ignore. But when you read it, although sometimes when they make that suggestion for me, I read it, I say, okay, I think this is still saying the same thing, but it's saying it in a better way. I just click accept. Yeah, so it's just this is just how we do it. Okay, let me take the second person's question. Who is on the okay, I can see, okay, John Bosco. John Bosco Cavo, can unmute. John Bosco Cavo.
Hello, thank you, Samuel Uche. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. Stanley.
yeah, my
Um,
man.
I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this work you are doing to enlighten us. I not really understand how far it's going, but at this point, I needed to attend this because I'm at the table of hot table. I'm writing my dissertation, so I'm doing a serious academic right now. So I really needed to attend this. I didn't have to miss it. But the question I want to ask is, when writing, especially academic writing, sometimes you might not really have the best expression to, or let me say, the best words, because English evolves.
Yeah,
I've seen that in the English that we are taught, a lot has changed about it now.
yeah, sure, sure.
And yeah, for me, that AI helps. It helps me to at least to be updated in the context, in the use of words and all of that. But then where I have issue is if you use AI to get a structure, then you now streamline it with your own language and the way you want it to be. Eventually, will it be flagged as that is AI generated? Because sometimes um I know what I want to write. I'll ask AI, okay, um, please, can you tell me something about so and so thing? Then they give me their own uh, points. Sometimes it comes out in bullet points. Sometimes it comes out as an essay. But then what I do is from what they give me, it gives me a direction to my research. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Sometimes as I pick some context from them. So if I do something like that, will it show that it's AI generated? Let me give you a clear example so you understand my question. If I ask something now, they might give me like the steps, like the structure I'm supposed to use to write it. Do you understand? I
Mm,
also believe that another person using the same thing possibly might have asked similar question and they must also given that person similar structure. Do you understand?
okay.
So
Yeah.
will it like be flagged that, oh, you are using AI generated this thing or something like that in your own knowledge and experience?
Okay. So again, we're looking at structure. What separates two paper that is pursuing the same research, maybe same research ideology or thereabout it, is actually the content. So
Yeah.
let's say let's say for example, I work with machine learning, deep learning. Almost all of us are looking for almost the same kind of result, but following different content. So, if example, if I train my models, I look at the accuracy because I have imbalanced data. I have to consider other metrics like the F1 score. I try to look at what's the recall, the precision. I also look at things like specificity, right? I also look at the AUC score. So somebody will mention almost something very similar to what I'm doing, but the content, the kind of results I generate are different. They're all different. We generate almost similar kinds of plots, but they're not the same because we didn't do exactly the same thing. You understand? So,
Yes.
so when it comes to talking about structure, when you apply AI to help give your works structure, it's not considered plagiarism as long as the contents within it are yours, or in the space of research. When it comes to the space of research, that those people whose content that's served as a building block to yours are adequately giving credits for what they have done. So if you use AI tools to give your distance structure, because even these professors that we're all working with, they all use it. I was in an event, it was a fellowship that was around between June to July. One of our instructors was telling us, that she uses AI to give her content structure. So the thing is that the academic community is gradually beginning to realize that there's nothing you can do about this. They are pumping in a lot of money to open AI to ensure that there is this kind of research that can be done. There's this kind of research that can be done that every human being has access to this. Sam Altman, Elon Musk, some of these guys, they're really pushing money, even Bill Gates. They're really pushing money into AI to ensure that it's very accessible to people. You understand? So as long as it ends in drafting, as long as it ends in ideation, and it's not like it's the overall content that you have, I don't think it's considered plagiarism or AI generated. It's simply giving your work structure. It's giving your work structure, not the content in itself. You understand? But if you also feel like it's an issue for you, I mean, based on your intuition, you can do it like we would do old school. And we'll just write our own thing, find someone to proofread it for us. My own advisor, before anything goes off and his name is on it, he will have to work with you on it for up to 3 or 4 times to ensure it's up to his standard or the standard he knows that the machine learning community will accept. You understand? So that's just basically that. I don't think it's considered as plagiarism to the best of my knowledge. As long as it's just simply about ideation, as long as it's about giving structure and all of that.
Yeah. Then, in addition to what Samuel just said, there's a little secret I want to share with you about how I do some of these things. You can actually own you like Samuel said, and AI helps your writing efficiency. It is not writing it for you, however, it helps you in streamlining it better. Now, see what I normally do. So, for you to use AI, I always tell people you must, number one, be intelligent. Because if you're not intelligent enough to give it good, to prompt it well, because what makes AI to give you what you want or what is good or what will not be flagged is your ability to prompt it well to give you something that is human. It could be machine generated thing. However, you will now be the one that will convert it to human. In those days, or sometimes when I'm writing, when I get it, I do manual editing of that. It gives me, like for instance, just like someone said, it will give you structure. It gives you structure. Then you can possibly use that structure, develop your content. The content might still be AI content. You bring the content and convert that content to human content, to human this thing. For instance, that is where synonyms comes in. Because you should, like I said, you should be intelligent if you want to use AI very well. You should be able to know 5 different words for one particular word, maybe 5 similar words for one particular word. For instance, when you want to talk about, maybe when you're writing your statement of purpose and you're writing about your research interest, now you can say AI can maybe when AI is trying to give you something, so give you a point or giving you that structure you want, AI can say your research interest is on, let's say, motivation. I want to investigate. So maybe when you bring it in, you should know that investigate, you can also use the word explore. You can also use the word find out. So when you use the word explore, find out, it is now you're not owning it. You're not owning the words. You're not owning this work. It's no longer, it is now moving away from what AI generated for you. And then you can restructure it. And like, for instance, there has been a time I wrote an SOP of almost 5 pages. And by the time I finished working on that SOP, I took it to AI for plagiarism for detection. I saw 0% AI and 100% human. I was very happy. I say, wow, so I'm now an expert. So these are the things, these are the ways you do it. Like he said, even some of the professors, they use it to generate some of these things. I know some of my professors who actually use it, but not that you depend or you are using it to write. However, is streamlining what you're writing. Now, there is something in when talking about streamlining what AI or what you're writing, like I said, it's all about giving it exact, like John Bosco, you are talking about you doing a research. How you ask AI to give you a structure or kind of guideline is by prompting it. Let me do a practical example of what I'm telling you. There was a time, okay, like if I want to write, I want to write, I want to do an analysis on effect of reward system on employee performance. Now, I don't know the kind of tools that I'm going to use for my analysis. I can go to AI and say, let me just type it now and say, hey AI, hey ChatGPT, can you tell me the difference? Or can you tell me, can I use regression analysis method to determine a correlation between two variables? Then I will say, for instance, can regression analysis method determine the relationship between reward system and employee performance in an organization? Or do you think I should use ANOVA or chi-square tools? Do you think this is a better one? Please be specific in your response and go straight to the point. So you see this kind of thing that I've given it. I have prompted it. You should be in control of AI and not allow AI to be in control of you. Now, when you ask AI this thing now, the AI will not suggest to you to either use regression or use chi-square or use ANOVA, whichever analysis. So it has told you what to do. So from there, you take it off from there. So I think okay, let me share my screen and show you people what I was trying to explain there. So let me say, for instance, this is ChatGPT. Sorry. Okay, so this is ChatGPT, and then I can just say, I can just copy that question and then put it here, and then say enter. So it will think Now he's thinking. He said, yes, you can use regression analysis to determine the relationship between two variables. Now, it has given me, it has told me that regression provides, we go ahead to explain to you what regression will do for you. You see, regression provides both strength, that's correlation coefficients, and nurture, positive or negative. It's trying to explain to you. Then it now came down here to tell you that Hanover and chi-square are less ideal for this purpose. Why I'm saying it is there was a paper there was one of the papers that I published in the past. This was the kind of prompt I gave AI, that I need to know the kind of tool that I'm going to use for my analysis. Should I use regression? Should I use ANOVA? Should I use chi-square? So, and in most cases, some of us who are in management, regression is always better for us in doing analysis. It's because most times in our research, we are trying to align or to know the relationship between two variables. Unlike some of those in the science that are doing more of experiments and all that. So this is just one of the examples of what I meant by asking AI to give you a guideline. Asking it, you have to prompt it and give it the exact thing you want, and then it will give you the exact answer. But assuming I came to say, AI, can I ChatGPT, can I use regression to do analysis? It will just say, yes, you can do regression. It will write like 10 pages for you of analysis. So it will even be confuse you more. But when you narrow your question down and narrow it to the area you want to do, it will give you something, and from there you develop your point from there. I believe this has been dealt with. Okay, so the next person, Nzekwe Sandra, can you unmute and speak?
Okay. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm grateful for these wonderful lectures. I really learned a lot. So my question is, okay, it's similar to what the better person asked, but this time around, okay, assuming I want to write SOP now, and sound, I wrote it myself. Then I now copied the SOP and now placed it in and now tell
Who is doing this?
Guys, can you just mute your mic? If you're not talking, just mute your mic.
Wait, let me. I know I've been meeting them here. That is what we've been experiencing.
Okay. So after writing the SOP myself is like 100% human. Then I now copied it to ChatGPT and then tell ChatGPT to maybe help me restructure it and put a professional tone, use a particular maybe a keyword that is required and make it, refine it. Then then ChatGPT will bring out everything for me. Is it if checked for racialism, we detect it's not 100% human, or I don't know. That is what I want to add.
Yeah. So I have helped somebody that was very close to me with their statement of peoples. I think I still have the mindset of writing my statement of peoples myself and submitting it. I never submitted to any AI platform. So what we basically do, how we wrote our own SOP was that if you look at folks who have written SOPs before and they were granted admission into a school, we gathered like 5 to 6 or 7 samples of SOPs, looked at what the structure of the paragraph was supposed to look like. What was the entrance point? What was in the second paragraph? What was in the third, and their conclusion, right? And we just saw a couple of similarities in the DNA of their writing. We looked at them and then we combined those things that we saw and generated our own write-ups. I have like I have helped somebody work on their SOP and they got admission without passing it through any AI tool. So if you feel very strong about AI tools probably altering what you've written, even though I know to an extent it's not going to do that, you're simply looking at structure like Stanley just demonstrated right now. If you're in charge of how you prompt the AI tools that you're using, you're not going to have any issue with that. But if you feel like, oh, you're overtly worried if they're going to find out or not, just write it yourself. Write it yourself. Find someone who has very sound grammatical structure, who has interacted with the English language properly, that has both the understanding of syntax and semantics of the English language. Maybe ask the person to help you proofread it. And you submit. I'm being honest with you about that. But if ChatGPT provides structure for your work, I don't think it's going to pose the threat of seeing it as an AI generated material because it's your brainchild, it's your work.
Yeah.
You are the one who wrote it. You understand? You are the one who wrote it and you submitted it to it to give you structure, right? Whether we like it or not, even the schools have come to the realization that the AI has come to stay. So they just want to make sure that when they're interacting with your work, is it commensurate? For example, so some schools can skillfully ask you to submit essays, submit SOP, right? There are two things. They will ask you to submit essays,
Yeah.
submit
Yeah.
SOP.
I have
So,
done some
these
application
people
before.
some of them are trained psychologists and they've read articles multiple times. Like some of them are tenured professors and the rest of them. So they will not see a certain kind of flow of words from your essays, and it's differing to a very large extent to what they're seeing in your SOP. So they can catch you from that. So
Wow.
how about if you feel like you're confident enough, how about you just simply generate these things yourself? Give it to somebody else to help you proofread. But if it comes to the place of structure, ideation, not the content in itself, I don't think that they will flag your work as AI generated. Even though it has been a problem in time past and the rest of them, do it yourself, submit to them. All
Okay.
right?
Yeah. In addition to that, Nzekwe Sandra,
Yeah.
just like I said before, try to own whatever AI has given to you. Try to own it. Own means let it be your own, even though it is coming from there. Now, you take something to AI to refine for you. You know that in the process of that refining, it could change some of the words. You see,
Right.
I have I've had this experience of, here, most times we do class discussion and the students will interact on the school website, on the school blackboard. And you see someone who just come, and most times when I'm reading a comment of my colleague, I know that this comment is not natural, even though it appears to be, but then it is not. What is not natural is not natural. So while trying to refine your words, it can change some of your languages, some of the natural language you have spoken to an AI language. Like there are some AI languages, like for instance, it will say the nuances of, that these languages are not normal. They are not, you should, when you read it, you should ask yourself, if I'm the one speaking, just like I'm speaking with you guys practically right now, I'm live. If I'm speaking live, can I use this? Do I speak like this in the real in the real life? So if what it has given to you is different from how you speak, you bring it out and change it to your human. That is why we say make it a human written. So that's refining that it has given to you. Don't just carry it as it has refined it for you and go. No, take it, redefine it on your own manually. Most times, do it just like someone said. Using the traditional way is always the best,
I mean, it's
but
safer, right?
but it takes time. But it makes you give something that is natural. So you take it. Why one thing I know is that a lot of people are lazy. They are lazy in the sense that they just carry those things for there, and this guy gives them whatever he gives them, and then they'll carry it far. I've even seen one of the professors I was helping. I've even seen where a student copied from AI. You know, there is a way AI writes for you. Whenever AI is writing, like for instance, if it's want to write in an email, you can say, "Dear," it will put in brackets, mention the name of the person. So you know that this person copied it there and put in bracket, mention the name of the person. He didn't even go to edit, and he sent it like that. And then in the midst of the letter, in the email, there's a place supposed to say mention your name. He put it in bracket. He just copy that, mention your name as it is, and sent. These are the things. Then and they did this thing now. What did they do you? You know, I have even seen my colleague whose comment was exactly the way, I think maybe the way he prompted or the way she prompted AI was to give her an idea of what she should respond to this her colleague. And then, when AI is writing it, AI will write it as AI is not writing it as you. AI is writing it is telling you what you should not tell that person. Now, she now copied it that way and say, because there's a place AI says, tell your colleague this. So she's now saying the same thing. Tell your colleague this. This simple thing, you should just calm down. People are lazy. And you just copied it like that. Yeah, are you not the one that is telling you should not say, hi, Stanley, or dear Stanley. I think this should a simple thing you should just bring out, and they did. But you just copied it that way. And then because it says tell your colleague, you are not saying tell your colleague at the same time. Who is fooling who? So the point I'm trying to make is this. If AI refines something for you, don't just take it verbatim the way it has refined it. Yes, it has refined it, has given it a better structure, but it has changed some of your words. And most times when AI is refining something for you, it refines it in such a way that it takes you even away from it takes some of the real ideas. Because me, I do it also. I normally take to AI sometimes to refine. But most times, when AI has finished refining, me when reading it, I will say, no, 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 this is not what I want. This is not. This is I tell AI, you are going outside the box. This is not what I asked you to do. So I will now take it and do it the way I want it to do it before I send it out.
All right. So
So
can I help? Can I help just
yeah,
for them? So the thing is
Yes.
that every author, every writer has a writing style. And so just like for some people who have gone to apply for visas before that you need to appear for an interview, there is something we call the psychology of writing. There's something we call the psychology of writing. So if you follow someone on social media for a certain period of time, if you see his or her write-up without the name on it, you will know it's from that individual to an extent.
yeah,
It's called the psychology of writing. So if you are writing a statement of purpose or personal statement or essays to show if you know how to write or not, and your essay one, essay two follows a certain style, and then your statement of purpose follows a different style, it's going to flag an error, right? So the goal is that there is consistency in how you write. Like Stanley said, sometimes some of these AI materials, because they are trained with biased data, can tilt towards a certain dimension of writing. And so if you're not careful, it will take you to that direction. And so you've submitted like 3 essays and SOP. It's not looking like you're the one who is thinking or who wrote all of them together. So by doing so, it's going to subject the reviewers to a level of bias or stereotype towards your work, because your SOP is sounding differently. It's not sounding like it's you, even though chances are that you're the one that wrote it. What we're basically saying is just ensure that you are in charge of how you utilize AI materials. It might be harder, it might be more time consuming to do things the old school way. But if that's going to keep you on the safe side, just try and do it.
yeah,
A good way to do that is to ensure that you consistently write, even if it's every day. You can use your WhatsApp status to start learning. Churn out like maybe 100 words, grow to 150, grow to 200, grow to 250 words, right? Before you know it, you will grow to other portions, and then it's easier for you to churn out 2,000 words in a day, churn out 3,000 words, and so on and so forth. All right,
Yes,
so
I also sorry, I also wanted to ask that, like, for help. Okay, like this now, how will I start writing something natural, like without using AI? Like, because this is I have made me to be so attached to it that maybe if I write something, I'll feel okay. Maybe I need it to still make it better. But from your advice, I think maybe I need to start writing it in a natural way. So how can I like train myself to always believe like the one I write is okay, like it's 100% okay?
yeah, so like I mentioned, I think that the only way we learn things in life is by doing. Make it a habit to, if you have a social media platform, because I had a social media platform, so I was writing almost every day. You know, even on my WhatsApp status, I just write things. You know, so first off, maybe just start writing. Write on your WhatsApp status, write some articles, keep it on your book, maybe give it to a friend to review for you, not AI. The only way to replace addictions is by getting a new addiction. So form the habit of asking friends to review your works for you just for fun, maybe if they have the time. You know, you look at what you've written, take some classes, go to Udacity, Coursera, some other platforms that teach people on how to write, and use those platforms to improve on your writing skill. Use them, write some things, maybe even take some writing challenges. You can say, you know what, I'm going to be writing consistently for the next 30 days. You don't have to write something very long, maybe 100 words. Hey, I just want to remind you guys, I said, okay, hey, today that I was going to write on this platform today. Tomorrow you do the same. Next tomorrow you do the same. Don't pass it through AI. Maybe ask a friend to look at what you're doing. So you build consistency, and then you begin to drop your over reliance on AI. You understand? Somebody is currently applying to schools in the US, and all the person came and showed me some materials that was generated by AI. I said, oh, this thing might impede your success rate. So you know what? Give me the original SOP that we've used to apply before. You know what? I'm gonna look at the questions they're asking you. And again, one of the problems of AI materials is that unless this new AI tools is that the problem of overgeneralization. So when you ask it question, it will generalize the answers. But when you yourself write, you simply try to answer the questions you simply answer the questions the way they were asked. You understand? The only way you can escape this is by starting. You just keep doing, keep writing things, and you will get better over time. That's what will happen. You just simply get better over time at what you're doing. So Stanley, I have constraint of time. Would you mind if I we just have 10 more minutes? They are really calling me on the phone. So yeah, I have
Okay,
another
I
meeting
think,
in the evening.
yeah, I think we'll be rounding off now. So what will happen is this: you will have to take. I think there is a final one more person that is raising his hands.
Mm.
Um, Isia Nikensley.
So before he comes up, somebody was asking question, Michael Adebambo. I hope I got it right. So the question is, what can we do to queue bots or other AI checks to see personal content as AI content? So I don't think it's your duty to do so. It's not your duty. Your duty is just to write human materials. When you write the materials and they flag it as AI content, if there is an opportunity where they give you feedback that they feel that your work is AI generated, you tell them to give you something new and that's why it's good you know how to write. If they tell you that your material is AI generated, you say, you know what, give me something new. You can even write it in front of them, as the case may be. Someone from my church, it happened to him, where they feel like the what he was writing, he wasn't well. In front of them, there he wrote something new, and it was amazing because they felt like maybe because of where he's coming from that he can't write like that. So
Yeah.
because we are students, or we're people who are subject to some sort of higher powers or thereabout, I don't think it's our fault. Just make sure that whatever you're churning out is human related. When you churn them out, then it's up to them to now decide or not. If they ever deny you an opportunity because they feel it's AI, then you can always counter that. Counter that and ask them that you want a new opportunity, to do something different. You understand? So it's not your duty. At some point, my professor had to turn off the Turnitin because all of us, our answers will have some things we copy from the question in itself, Turns out that we consult the same. I don't even know who these people are. So our answers might look very closely. He had to just turn it off. He was no longer looking at it again. Yeah. So
You know,
let, okay.
okay, are you done?
Yes. Would you mind if I just kindly just take Isiani, Kinsley, and then
Yeah, I'm trying to bring him in. I'm
okay,
trying to,
okay.
yeah, so that we don't just miss anybody's listen. So is here and Kingsley, just come in.
Okay.
You can unmute and speak. Are you there?
Thank you so much, Stanley, for this privilege. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, please. Okay. Stanley, thank you so much for this privilege. And the presenter, I thank you so much. Your presentation was excellent and professional in nature. We learned a lot of things there. But my question here is this. I've not been very familiar or conversant with the GPT chat
For
or
GPT,
using it effectively as the
GPT.
case may be. So, for instance, now I wrote my SOP by using some samples, collecting ideologies from different samples of SOP. After I've written and borrowed some words there, but not the exact word I saw there, I changed it by using a synonym. So after I have written and I copied to ChatGPT, how do I copy or ask them, as in like copy and paste there? Is it just copy and paste and you send it? It will now tell you it's AI generated or thereabout. I want to know how to use it or when I have pasted. That is my question, please.
Okay. So I want to put this disclaimer out there. There is nothing like new ideas out there. There's nothing like new ideas out there. We are all regenerating old content. You see, what people consider news is old information to new people. That's what we consider news. So all content you see online, even the new research publications people are making, somebody has written it, probably not in a place where it is well visible. So that's one. Secondly, there's something we call prompting when it comes to ChatGPT. So if you simply just carry content and put into ChatGPT, it will do what it probably was already trying to do, probably like explain those things for you and tell you what the content is made up of, it is made up of. It is now your duty to say, hey, ChatGPT, would you mind going through this work to proofread to see if it is grammatically sound or not? There are some prompts Stanley showed you here that people can also
Yeah.
use. You understand? So how successful ChatGPT will be with you, what you've given to it, is to what extent you prompted it properly. That's why people are learning prompting engineering, not just ChatGPT, Gemini, or any other large learning models out there. People are learning prompt engineering to be able to utilize it properly. When it comes to SOP, you can simply tweak the words that somebody wrote in their own SOP and you copy almost the sentence verbatim. Some softwares will look at word context. There's something we call attention mechanism in transformers. They look at maybe positioning of words, how words are related to each word, to be able to assign attention scores to some of those words, right? And that would determine the level of weight that the model give to those words when they are translating them. For example, if you're doing language translation, let's say if you say something like the boy jumped over the fence, the attention score it will give to D when it is trying to look at the word fence, it will be lower compared to the attention score is going to assign the word over when it's trying to translate the word fence, because the context those words we are using is extremely important, right? So it's called attention mechanism and all of that, and a couple of other things that has to do with natural language processing. So the case is that when you're trying to translate you've gathered ideas from people's work, own it, own the work. What I mean, own it. The goal is to give you an idea, not necessarily the words, just the idea of how to start or how to go about it. So if you look at people's SOP, it's your own story. That's why when you go to the VO office to do something, what you're doing is not, I don't see it as interview. That's how we were taught. Is you are about there to you are just having a chat with the person, telling them your story. So somebody writes an SOP in a certain manner. Look at what they have done, own it to your own story and tell your own story. And again, also ensure that whatever you're doing, that it's consistency in how you write is important. That's why somebody can look at somebody's work and they follow the person for a while and they see their work in another person's website. They know this person didn't write this. They will know this person didn't write this. They will just know, we saw your work. Somebody used it. They will know. So there's a way some of us write. There's a way you write. You will see. There's a way we put our words together, and it's unique and peculiar to each author. You understand? So, like we said earlier on, when you use ChatGPT to just give you structure to word, it does not flag it as an AI generated material. It's not. It's giving it structure. Even the professors use this. They use ChatGPT. They use it for instructional material, but there are some AI laws that they generate, like that you can't use school material or data used in research and put into AI. Those ones are some laws that they are putting in place and the rest of them. But to give structure to what you're doing, I don't think it's a problem. I don't know if I
All
answered
right. Yeah, of course. Even most of us that came here, at least Uche and I, we didn't come here with an SOP that was generated by AI. Or we didn't even, I don't even know what's AI until I came here.
I didn't know either, brother.
I'm telling you, AI became prevalent, I think, sometime in late 2022. That was
Yeah,
when,
somewhere around that time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was when it became a little bit prevalent. We started with 3.0. We started with that open AI that was misbehaving until at a point they kept on updating it, and now we have even the paid version and all that. And then you can actually get something better with the paid version. So the whole thing is all about enhancing your writing skills and not to make you lazy. Because if you depend so much on this, just like I said, for you to use AI well, for you to use AI, you have to be intelligent. Okay, just for instance, let me do another. I always like to do a practical thing. Let me share my screen again and prompt you on something that could. Now, let's say, for instance, you have written an SOP. You want to write an SOP and you want to apply for you want your research interest to be, let's say, you want your research interest to be on you have a research interest on, I will always use because that's my area. You can say that your research interest is on maybe diversity, equity, and inclusion in workplace scenario. Now, what you can do, tell AI here now to do when you want to start writing this, because in applying for your admission, your research interest is the major thing that they want to see there. You should have a research interest. You don't tell AI to tell you your research interest. AI doesn't know you. You know yourself. Maybe you did an undergrad, you studied human resource. In your postgrad, you studied maybe personnel management. Now, in your PhD, you want to do something in diversity, equity, and inclusion and belongingness in organization. This is the context of so you can just tell AI, hi, ChatGPT, my research interest, my research interest is on diversity, equity, and inclusion in organizations. and I have bachelor's in human resource and a master's in personnel management. Give me an outline on how I can write an SOP for a PhD in management with concentration in human resource management. So now, if you look at this prompt now, they have told AI, your research interest is on DEI, how to bring in DEI in an organization, in organizational recruitment, let's say organizational recruitment. And then you have a bachelor's in human resource and a master's in personnel management. So you now need a guideline for you to start. Just like we say, ask for a guideline, then do enter. This guy will just think, he's thinking now. Look at it, he's thinking. Now it's now giving you something. It's very introduction, academic background, professional experience. So this is what AI is giving you now. Research interest in DEI and recruitment. Fit with PhD program and faculty. Future goals, contribution, then conclusion. So from this outline now, you have 7 paragraphs to write for your SOP on this subject matter. You begin with your introduction. It will tell you, begin with a compelling opening that briefly highlights your passion for advancing DEI in recruitment. So this is the first on the introduction. Then the next paragraph, you talk about your academic background, your bachelor's in human resource and your master's in personnel management. And then the third one, professional experience. Where have you worked? Have you worked in these areas? Then research interest, paragraph 4. Then you write. So with this now, that's why I say we should be smart. You know what you want, but you don't know how to start. You prompt AI, AI tells you this is how you're going to start. So it has given you, then the fifth one should be fit with PhD program and faculty. That means in every application you are doing, you don't just wake up and start applying. You need to go to the department, go to their website, go and read the profile of all the faculty members and look at those who are focused on DEI in organizations. Maybe those who have published work in those areas. You go online, search for their work, read about their work. Then in your SOP, you will discuss their work as well, because this is something you have read. You can even download those words, take it to ChatGPT and say, summarize what this professor have written in this area based on this document. You upload it and then it will just summarize it. From that summary, you have seen what the lecturer is writing. Then you will find a way to align it with yours. That is this paragraph 5. Then paragraph 6, your future goals. Where do you want to work? You want to use the PhD to become a professor, or you want to use it to work in the industry? And then conclusion. So technically, this prompt that I just gave to AI now, it has given me that I now know that I'm going to write an SOP that has 7 paragraphs. For some of you that are asking, how do I even start? Where do I start? This is where you start. Prompt AI by specificity. Don't just, some people just wake up and say, AI, please tell me how to write SOP. It will just tell you something general. So it's these are the things that we wanted to bring to you guys. And I'm very happy that Samuel have actually dealt with some of these things. And if we stay here and here and here, there are many things we can even, AI is something you can juggle around. You can juggle around with it. Tell me this, tell me that, do this, do that, and it will be giving you, and you are owning it. It gives you, you own it. It gives you guideline, you follow the guideline, you get something, you take it there, it works. Now, you take it to AI. AI tells you that maybe you want to check it, and it's telling you that as long as it is your own writing, you have nothing to fear about. So I think I want to, at this point, thank, because I think we've actually dealt with a lot of questions, and there are no new questions. I want to thank Samuel in a special way for devoting his time. We have been here for like 2 hours now, and 2 hours here we work, and we work on hourly basis. A lot of us work and we get $25 to $30 per hour. Now, spending 2 hours with you, it means that we have spent like $60 with you guys. And if you convert it to Naira, you know how much it is in Naira. So, and how much you must have lost by these 2 hours. But we are happy that we are not losing the hours for something that is not meaningful. We are losing the hours for something that is impactful. And I believe that whatever we have done today has impacted a lot of you, and you must have learned new things, and you would learn a better way to do your research and your SOP. At this point, this is application period for most universities here in the US. I always tell you guys, take your time, keep that sleepless night, do it. Some of us did it. Like I said, we didn't even write SOP. The SOP that brought me to US, I don't know anything about AI. It was AI did not give me guideline. Just like coming to US and knowing about all of these things is just like it has advanced my writing skill. I before now, by God's grace, I can write. Because if I cannot write, I couldn't have come here. At least I can write without the aid of AI. But coming to see that AI is something that cannot, because AI, as the way I'm seeing AI as the same as Google Scholar, all of those search engine that we were born into, because we all came into Google, Wikipedia, all of those ones before AI started coming in. So I'm seeing AI as one of those search engines. So that enhances writing. So coming here, I have come to realize that my writing skill has improved from what it used to be. But I was writing before I came here. So I believe that you guys have really learned a lot of things, and adding to the ones you know already. And I believe, because like I said when we started, why we decided to bring up this program is because we are assisting you guys to run plagiarism, and then we also have been assisting you guys in reviewing your statement of purpose. There was a statement of purpose that someone sent to me for review. After reading first and second paragraph, I saw it was 100%. I didn't even take it to Quillpot to check it. Reading it by myself, I know it's an AI. I had to reply the guy. I sent his SOP back to him and told him that this is completely generated by AI. Please write something that is your story and give it back to me to edit. Simple. Because I can't start editing what AI has written. Because what AI has written is too verbose. So let's learn to be better. We have a record of this. I think this thing is on record. We will keep it available on our YouTube channel for those who couldn't make it, and then for some of you who were here but didn't, maybe because you are not a machine. You didn't record everything we have here, so you can always go back and play it and learn more about it. And thank you so much, Samuel, for your contribution. Thank you for opening our minds, and thank you guys also for your active participation in this program. I pray and hope that most of you will be admitted in the next academic session. Not just getting admission, but also getting your scholarships that will help you, because if you get admission and you don't get scholarship, it's always a difficult thing for. I know how it is over there for some of us coming from African countries. So I understand. So thank you guys for your participation. And then I wish you guys good luck in your applications. I will also make available this material. I will try to talk to Samuel. We'll make it available on our website. I mean, the PowerPoint he presented. We make it available for you to, because there are a lot of important information there that you can actually use there. So I will make it available for us to download from there. Please, please, please. If you want to make use of some of this AI, try to use the subscribed version of it, because the subscribed version of it makes it a little bit better for you and gives you the correct thing. But the open one, the one that is not paid for, is it is an open AI. It doesn't give you the best you may want. So, but like we said, it is not for you to become lazy, but for you to enhance in your writing skills. Thank you for your participation, and do have a lovely Sunday night.